because this could fall off pretty easily. The horse could knock that off, and that would just cause a ruckus, and they probably hurt themselves.
Can you guys see?
Yeah, can you guys see the pictures? Yeah, that would probably, I mean, the horse could knock that off. They could cut themselves on this thing, and I have seen horses do that before. And this is just a better idea of the chain, because you can put the chain on the other side of the stall where they can't get to it, and then the snap, you can turn the snap the other, so the little clip parts are facing out and they can't cut themselves on it. So chains and snaps is a good way to hang up buckets. And then another thing you want to do with your lead rope is get a thing of twine and tie it outside, because if you just loop it through the stall, I mean, this to me, this isn't the biggest bad thing you can do, because sometimes you don't have twine and you need somewhere to put it, and it'd be better to put it through the bars of the stall than just like on the ground where another horse could step on it and tangle it. But this is ideal because then your horse can't grab it through the stall and take it in the stall, and it just looks neater, keeps it and you know where it is. And then another good thing in the stall is, do you know why you think a breakaway halter is better in the stall potentially, especially if you're traveling, than just their normal nylon halter? Yeah?
The breakaway, if they get their face caught, it'll break instead of like having them put in it.
Exactly, because that's why it's the same when you travel too, you want the leather or a breakaway, because it's the same thing if they're really trying to struggle, if they're really scared, it is better for it to break than it is for them to really pull on it, just get stuck. And so that's a good thing to do. Anything else? Oh, and then do you know that you also want a salt block in the stall too? That's another, if you want, you can either have a bucket on the floor for the salt bucket, or just put it in their feed bucket, and then when they're eating, you obviously want to take it out and then put it back in. And you know why a salt block is good? The minerals. Yeah, do you know? It's because when we sweat, we lose all those electrolytes and the nutrients, so it's good for them to get those types of things back in their system, and they need those salt and minerals to keep their body regulated and where it needs to be. Unrated. Okay, cool. So I'm just going to talk a little bit about different types of bedding, and I only brought one copy of the pictures because I didn't know how many people would be here. But pretty much there's several different types of bedding you can use in your stall. So the general difference with the wood pellets is, it starts out, it almost kind of looks like pelleted food a little bit. So this picture actually might be of pelleted food, I'm not really sure. But that's kind of what it looks like anyway, and that's what I've wanted. This one isn't in some of the Pony Club books, but I wanted to show you because I've also used this stuff before as well. And what's cool about it is you put it in the stall as pellets, and then when it gets wet, as you guys probably know, it starts to kind of disintegrate, right? And it kind of becomes a little dusty, right? Or more of a dust. It's not like sand.
You want to like take it out?
Yeah, and then when it gets wet, you can take it out, and it's kind of nice as it only gets like that little spot wet, and it stays kind of more confined, whereas in shavings, it'll just kind of spread, right? And then you end up having to take out a lot of shavings if the horse pees in the stall. And so that's just one thing that's kind of cool about pellets. And then some other types of bedding is like the shavings, and that's probably one of the more common types of bedding because it's really readily available. Everywhere has shavings. And you just want to be careful with shavings. There's a certain type of tree, I think it's the black oak, cherry oak.
Cherry and some of the darkwoods.
The darkwoods, yes, that's it. They're bad for horses, so you don't want to use those kinds of shavings for.
If you're buying them.
And then another type of bedding, and then shavings is good. All of these beddings, they're all highly absorbable. That's probably you want something that's absorbable for them, so when they do pee and poop, it doesn't just kind of get wet everywhere. You want something to absorb some of the wetness, so it stays confined. So if you can't go out, pick their stall every 10 minutes when they do something, you don't want it to just be them standing in their pee and poop all day long. But you want something that kind of absorbs it.
Well, the shavings and the dust and stuff will stick to them, get on their face and around their muzzle, but the straw won't stick to them the same. It absorbs all of the moisture and everything else, but it helps the foal and the mother stay cleaner.
So all you would really, really do, in this case, you just kind of pick it, and maybe if there's dry shavings, shake them out, because you want to try to save as much of your shavings as possible. Flies in here if you know, if these stalls are really dirty and then you left the muck outside, there would be tons of flies and your horse is going to be irritated because there's lots of flies. And then, do you guys know what bot eggs are?
Yeah, they lay them on their skin and you have to take them out.
Exactly. Because, I mean, you don't want too many of those because that's just, it's like they're like little bugs pretty much on their legs. And they kind of suck some of the nutrients out of your horse a little. Not as bad as like a flea or a tick on this. And then it freaked her, it scared her, obviously, because she tried to pull back and it wouldn't move. And so she ripped her nostril open a little. She's fine. We got it, we did take her to the vet and they sewed it back up and you can hardly tell. She's a little scar, but you can hardly, like if you didn't know, you couldn't tell. But so that's why with buckets, you definitely want to make sure you have these horse-friendly buckets that are closed. Yeah, so that's what these things you want to make sure that they are either the rubber, if they have rubber, make sure the rubber stays on them, or make sure that they're nice and closed off. So, because horses will do silly things. They're going to rub all over everything, and they're not going to know, and then they probably won't know again.